Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and today we're going to be doing something really fun, really creative. It's near the end of the year when we're filming this. I think it'll be out before the end of the year. But I got my good friend Steph, movie chatter. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing great. You ready for the holidays?
Yeah, kind of low key here, so it's
Me
easy.
too. Me too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I thought this would be a fun challenge. So well, we were coming up with the name beforehand, actually, and you'll see people who are clicking on this video are going to see. So notoriously on behind me, I have like a kind of a rainbow pattern on like my Criterion shelf. So I wanted to do something with colors and color association. So we've dubbed this the Criterion Color Connotation Challenge. So
Yep.
what you need to do is obviously you have Roy G. Biv, which is the seven colors of the rainbow, right? And so what you're going to do with that is you're going to pick a movie and what those associations with. So there's different colors, and all these different colors have different associations. So they have different attributes attached to them. And I have my own chart here next to me that I want to look at, but obviously this is different for everybody. So that's what Stefan here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about the colors of the rainbow, and then we're also going to add in black and white,
Yep.
just because we'll have nine. It's just cool to have nine of these things. So I think we should start off. Let's do black and white first before we jump into
Okay.
the rainbow itself. So, at least in my eyes, I see black as this power. It's got mystery, kind of. There's death associated with it. Evil could be also associated with it. Elegance. These are the things that I have some connotations with. Yeah, Steph, what did
Okay.
you choose for this?
I picked one of my favorite kind of thriller movies in the collection. It's Spine number 260, Eyes Without a Face.
Ooh,
And for those of you who don't know, this is a 1960 black and white horror thriller from France. And it is in French with English subtitles, of course. And it is about a young woman here who she has lost her face in a horrible accident. She's terribly disfigured. And her father is a physician, and he is capturing young women who fit her body type. And he is trying to do a face transplant from their face to hers. And that's where he maintains, that's where we get the control issue, because she's not okay with it, and he's continuing to do these things, and she knows they're wrong, but he will not stop at anything to try. And it's almost like it's an addiction for him to get the process right, more so than trying to help her.
right. It becomes
And
that. It becomes that.
right.
In the
And it
movie, you see
takes,
that.
yeah, and it takes this just dark, dark, dark turn. So that's why I picked Eyes Without a Face, and I think it's a fantastic movie if you like the horror slash thriller genre.
Yeah,
So that's my pick.
I mean, that's a great pick, and I like how you chose a horror slash thriller for
Right,
Black, because I think that
right.
really does kind of encompass that a little bit. I also chose a horror film of sorts.
Okay.
Actually, one of the more personal films for Guillermo del Toro. Talking about Devil's Backbone right here. Spy number six six
Yep.
six. I love that. I love that.
I
This
love that too.
666.
I love
But
it.
yeah, Nightmare Alley is recently out. I wanted to pick a Del Toro because I just recently watched Nightmare Alley, and I highly recommend that people go watch it.
Yes.
Great movie. But yeah, Del Toro. This is the other film that I fell in love with besides Pan's Labyrinth. So
Hmm.
these were the two personal films I think for Del Toro to kind of tell of kind of the similar time period, Spanish Civil War time period, but about children. And then like there's this element of horror and mystery to it.
Hmm.
And pretty much there's something really horrifying behind this ghost tale,
Hmm.
and seeing what's happening to these orphans specifically in The Devil's Backbone. But yeah, this is a film that I need to revisit soon because
Yep.
I've had an itching for it. But this is an incredible film. This is from 2001, so not too long after. All right, about six or 7 years before Pan's Labyrinth. So,
Hmm.
and then he went off to Hellboy between that time period.
Yep.
But Devil's Backbone, I highly recommend this film. Yeah, and I think it's a perfect representation of Black.
I agree. And that is it's a beautifully shot film. The cinematography is unbelievably gorgeous in that film.
Yeah, it's.
And
I mean,
it's so colorful for such a dark topic.
Yeah,
It's such a beautiful, colorful film. It's
there's a lot of
really
light in it too.
there is a lot of light and a
Natural
lot of
light.
like
Yeah.
yellows and things like that. And it's really, yeah, I love Devil's Backbone.
Yeah, but
Good
like
choice.
it's weird. It's weird because like how you talking about that because just like visually, it's not super dark. I mean, in
But it
part,
is dark,
obviously, but
yeah.
it is dark. Yeah, and so
Right. Yeah.
that's
It's
why.
it's that contrast.
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
think that's why. I mean, you anyone who's playing along with us is you can literally choose any dark Criterion
Yeah.
film and
Yeah.
put it in the black category of color, right? So, but yeah, yeah, I think that's a good first two choices. Let's now move on to white,
Okay.
which to me kind of represents innocence, safety. We got perfection, kind of a illumination. These are the things we're looking for in white.
Okay. So for my white choice, I went with one of our favorites, Ozu, an Ozu film. I picked Spine number 331, Late Spring.
Oh yes.
And I just think that this really just, even to look at the filming of it, it's a very light looking film. There's a lot of light colors, a lot of white. It's a black and white film, but it's very much based in the white, more so than the black, I think. And it's about a young woman who is living with her father, who is he's a widow. What would it be? Widower.
Mm.
Yeah, her mother's passed on, and she takes care of her father long after she should have already been married off. And she does everything for him, and they're just very, very committed to their father-daughter relationship and looking out for the best interests of the other one. And he decides that he has kept her home far too long, and maybe it's time to start looking for a husband for her. And she is very reluctant to follow that path because she feels so indebted and just dedicated to taking care of her father and not leaving him alone.
Yeah.
And so it's a really beautiful story. And I love their relationship and how much they love and respect each other. And it's just, to me, it couldn't be a more bright film. And I think it encompasses all those feelings we associate with anything, those emotions that go with the color white. So
Yeah.
this is from 1949. It's 108 minutes in black and white. It's in Japanese with English subtitles, and I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful, beautiful film.
As do I. That's an incredible film, and honestly, you could have chosen any Ozu film for
Except
like
for
this.
Good Morning.
Except for Good Morning, man. Well, I mean, there's innocence there, right?
There is the boys, yeah.
So, like that's the thing that I think of with Ozu is like safety, tradition, kind of perfection of
security.
Security. There's like that, that white, that innocence that it is in that space. And I think that's what Ozu does really, really well with all his films. And Late Spring is a great example of that. So
yeah, because she definitely was rooted in that security and kept kind of innocent by staying home and being dedicated to the care of her father.
Yeah. And I think a beautiful example of it.
Yeah.
Well, mine is a film from 1987, and it is an Iranian film, and it's the first in this trilogy from Abbas Kiarostami. And I'm talking about in the Coker trilogy, we have Where is the Friend's House, which is the probably just the sweetest little film of a boy who's just trying to return school supplies to his friend across in a different village. And really it's about that journey. I could have pick it. You can tell I'm from Missouri, right?
Yeah, we be picking.
You could have chose a film maybe like from the Apu trilogy. You could have went that route. You could have probably went a few different routes, but I decided to choose Abbas Kiarostami's film that really delighted me the first time I watched it. And let me pull it out right here. We have all three of them here, but Where's the Friend's House right here is the first of the trilogy, which is like this weird trilogy, by the way. If anyone needs to look into that, please do. I love how it's all set up, though. But this still plays a big role in all of the films. But highly, highly recommend this one. This one is from 1987, which is actually my favorite year for films, which is perfect for this. It's in Persian, so it's Iranian, and it's 83 minutes, so it's really short. And it's totally worth your time, and it really does take a look at that innocence and showing that this safe little village, or this village of where these characters are from, and just trying to just do an everyday kind of thing. So I think I chose this for that reason, for white. So those are our choices for black and white. Now we're just going to get into the rainbow itself, starting off with red. Now, red, this has a couple different connotations. People could take it romantically. They could see anger or danger involved. There's some sensitivity coming about, leadership as well, willpower. These are the things that you can associate with red. So what did you choose, Steph?
Okay, I chose a film that kind of encompasses a little bit of all of those, which was kind of interesting. And I think red is just such a powerful color. And those are immediately the things that we associate, even if you don't hear it out loud. That's what we kind of associate with red. It's a more of a hot color. And I chose spine number 647, Marlon Brando in On the Waterfront, because I think that it just has a little bit of all of that. It has the love interest, it has the anger, it has the power, it has the intensity, it has everything that I think of when I think of red. And I just think this is such a great film, and I love the performance from Marlon Brando. For those, just a quick synopsis: he's working down. It's actually on the with the longshoremen in New Jersey, where I live, and he is involved with some bad guys who have kind of forced him into making decisions that he regrets. And when he meets someone who he is very interested in, he wants to be the person he knows he can be, and not the person that he is. But it's a matter of getting from point A to point B, because it's not an easy journey. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it, because I don't want to spoil it. But it is from 1954. It's 108 minutes, black and white, and it is in English. So for anyone who's not into subtitles, this is a great film. It is a great Marlon Brando film. And Carl Malden's in it too, right? There's a bunch of Carl Malden's in it, and Rod Steiger's in it. So there's a lot of familiar faces in it.
Yeah.
Really solid performances, in a great movie. I've watched this so many times. I just love it. So On the Waterfront is my choice for red.
Well, that's one of my first Criterions that I ever owned. So it's a great choice. Yep. I mean, that's one of my favorite Marlon Brando films. So,
and they're still selling it in the digipack,
which is great. That's the digipacks we like. Those types.
Those, not the Citizen Kane fly away.
Buy Citizen Kane. You're not in this list. So for red, for me, I decided to also kind of put all this together, because this movie that I'm going to choose is literally all that. And people who've seen me on this channel know exactly, this is one of my favorite films of all time. It's got a purple cover, The Princess Bride, from 1987. Another, like I said, favorite year of movies. Princess Bride has romance, has a danger, has leadership, willpower, sensitivity. It has all of that, comedy. But yeah, red, this for such a strong color, like you said. Well, Princess Bride is one of the strongest films I've ever seen. Like, it's so memorable. Obviously I've seen it a million times, but at the same time, it's got such a brightness to it, and such a vibrance in the performances, and just the film itself, that I highly recommend. This is from 1987, like I said, spy number 948 right here. Rob Reiner directed this film, and Carrie Ells and Princess Buttercup, and everyone in this movie is just perfect.
It's a good one.
I highly recommend this. But like, this is what I associated with red. I've thought about a few other films with this, but I wanted to go with my gut and be like, this is the one that punches me the most. So now that we're moving from red, we're getting a little bit warmer right here. This is this next color, which warmth is actually associated with this color. We have orange, and orange has warmth. It has abundance. You look at success, determination. This is the kind of colors. This is the association that we would get with the color orange. So what did you choose for this color?
Well, this is a newer addition to the Criterion Collection, and it is also more of a mainstream film, which I know a lot of people are enjoying, that they're adding some mainstream films to the collection to make it a little more accessible for people to get involved with it.
Princess Bride, for instance.
Like Princess Bride, right. And this is a fantastic film. I just love it. I think it really encompasses all of those things. Especially the dedication. It's from the year 2000. It's 125 minutes in color and in English, and it is spine number 1097, Love and Basketball. And I just love this film. And these are two people who have grown up together. They've known each other, and they love basketball. and they are this is perfect for you.
Yeah, I have
And
it over there.
they are so dedicated to not only their friendship and subsequent relationship, but also to being the best they can be in this sport. And they are so dedicated. They are so passionate about it. And there's that competitiveness underneath it, that wave of competitiveness, which you would expect from any type of elite athlete. But as hard as they play, they also have all those emotions that go with it. And I just think it's a great film, and it's pretty much a great watch for anyone, I think, of all ages. And I'm so glad to see it come to the collection. But I think that this is a great representation of the feelings that we associate with orange. So Love and Basketball is my choice.
I love it because I mean that was one of my most anticipated Criterion releases of the year. And
Yeah,
I'm
I was
so happy
so
to
excited.
have it.
Yeah,
I'm about to drop my orange.
you dropped your orange.
Dropped my orange. It's next to the orange.
There you go. Grab your lemon.
Here we are, moving on to another release that is more on the mainstream side of things, but I think is highly an orange film, and this might be the most apt on the the visual side of orange too.
Okay.
But it really does have all these associations with it too. This is from Wes Anderson. This is one of my favorite stop motion. This is probably my favorite stop motion from Wes Anderson. But I'm talking about 2009's Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yep.
This is all about determination. What are you talking about? Like this whole setup is about like having this success here. But it also has that, that fall vibrant color to it, and color palette. I mean, this whole thing is orange, right? Orange is brown.
Just look at it. Yep. It's beautiful.
But it's just it's just one of those films. And also the same thing, when I watch this, I feel this warmth from this movie. I can feel this is like a nice cozy blanket, and orange I associate that color with because honestly, orange is actually my grandfather's favorite color. And subsequently had become one of my favorite colors because of him. And so I have that association with this color myself. And so obviously, having something like this, which doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with my grandpa, but the color itself, it feels like kind of, I can see where the warmth comes from. So, but anyway, Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is spy number 700. It's a high recommend. This is also a nice digipack that they have that they still make. And recommend this for orange.
Good one. I love that one.
Yeah, it's one of the best Wes Anderson films.
And the voicing cast is so great too.
Oh my God. Yeah. We didn't even talk about the cast.
So many familiar faces in that one, and they do just such a great job.
Now we're moving on to the color yellow, and yellow has more of that joy, positivity, remembrance. We have vigor, intellect. So this is the color that's associated with those colors or with those traits. And so what did you choose for yellow?
Okay, so I picked this one. This is a favorite of mine. It's from 2013, but it is in black and white, and I love that it's in black and white because it brings a lot. It brings a lot of emotion, and it takes that color palette away, so you can just feel the emotion from the characters on the screen. And it is 86 minutes. It is done by Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig. It is spine number 681, Frances Ha. And I just think that this captures so many of those emotions that we associate with yellow, and especially like the intelligence and the vigor and all that. And she's so dedicated to moving forward, but yet she has this friendship that she kind of has to leave in the past because her best friend has become involved with someone and doesn't have as much time for the single life anymore. And our main character, Frances, played brilliantly by Greta Gerwig, she is trying to find her path, and she's very talented and very driven, but she has to find a way to focus all that into the path that's going to take her where she wants to go. And we follow her on her journey of trying to find that path. So I just think this is the film that made me just fall in love with her as an actress and a writer. And, if you don't love her in this, I don't know what you're going to love her in, because I just think she's fantastic. So Frances Ha, it's a great film, and you'll see familiar faces in this too, like Adam Driver is in this. And they're actually very good friends. The three of them are very good friends. So Frances Ha is a great movie. And I think it encompasses the feelings of yellow.
Yeah, I love that, and that was my introduction both to Noah Baumbach
Yep.
and Greta Gerwig. So
Yep.
I love that film, and has a strong place in my heart. So I'm glad you chose that one.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a fun one.
yeah, it's delightful, and also really challenging too for people. Like, don't get us wrong, like it's a very challenging film too. It's
It
like,
is.
yeah, it's hard, but
It is because at times she's so cringe. Like you're watching her and you're like, no,
don't
no,
do that.
but she makes those mistakes that we've all made
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it's
in
so
one way
relatable.
or another. So that's what makes it so cringe because it's like, no, no, don't put your foot in the bear trap. But
Yeah.
it's and she just does it so well, and it just comes out. And yeah, it's a great one. So
For mine, we're gonna go for to 1985, and this
okay.
is a Japanese film. This is Spy Number 868, and I hope I can get this filmmaker's name right, but Juzo Itame, Tampopo, right here.
Hmm.
Tampopo is what I envision with joy, vigor, positivity. Like this film is like it's considered a ramen western. That's what they
Hmm. Yeah.
kind of dub it as.
Yep.
It's really hard to describe this film, mainly because it's just so wacky.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, it's a Japanese film. You can tell, and it's made with so much love and like heart. It really is just like kind of one of those films that has like this love of ramen and food in
Yep.
general. And Tampopo is like one of our main characters in this film. It's a lady who just works at this diner and has just makes this really special ramen. And
Hmm.
eventually it starts drawing in everyone else, and she starts getting famous because of it. And I mean, it's a foodie film, right? It's a film
Yep.
about all of that thing. And I mean, that vigor really shines through. So to me, it's a very positive film and it's a very fun film. And that's what I associate with the color yellow. And so
Hmm.
I feel like Tampopo was a good example. And also look at that
Yeah.
it's yellow right
Yellow.
there too.
Hello.
Yeah,
They know.
red, blue.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all the colors. So Tampopo
Noodles.
noodles. Yep,
Awesome.
noodles are
Love it.
yellow. So there we
Yeah.
go.
Noodles. There you go.
So now we're on to green. Now
Yep.
we are to nature, life, money, jealousy, safety. This is what we associate with the color green. So what did you choose?
Oh, okay. I chose this one, I believe, came to the collection within the last year or so. It's a film from 2005. It's also it's a quick one. It's 87 minutes. It's in color, but it is in English. And it's a film by Barani. Raman Barani. It is spine number 1066, Man Push Cart. And this was his first film. He did it on a budget of about $80,000. And one thing I can say before I even get into the film and why I chose it is if you do yourself the justice of picking this up and watching this fantastic little film, definitely invest in the special features because you will learn a lot about the process that they go through to get this project done. And it's amazing. But basically, what it is it's a guy who is coming here. He has lost his wife and he came here from Pakistan. And it really is telling the story of what it was like for like a Pakistani person to be in New York City post 9/11. And it's not easy. And he comes here and he wants to make a life for himself. And he does it by like kind of leasing out this push cart, the food cart, and he's dragging it every morning, and he's starting at like 3 and 4 in the morning. He's dragging it blocks and blocks and blocks because he doesn't have a truck or a car to pull it. He's stacking everything up. He's very dedicated to his work. He's trying to get enough money to buy the cart so that he can establish some sort of stability for himself. But then as he's looking around at the people that he's serving and the people that he meets in his life, there is that jealousy because other people seem to have it a little easier, and his life is backbreaking, very, very hard work, and it's very dangerous. And you actually, if you I am about 45 minutes from New York City, and you see these guys and you think like, how the heck do they drag these things? Right, they do it right in the middle of traffic, and they're pulling them along the side of the road with cars and buses and all kinds of things going by them. And it's amazing that more of them are not hurt while they're
Mm.
doing it. Very dangerous work. And he's just a very dedicated person. But like I said, there is that envy and jealousy for why is my life so hard? But it's a pretty amazing film. It's a quiet film. There's a lot of thinking that you have to do on your own, but I think there's a big payoff in that. And you really do see the world through his eyes and how hard it is for some people and who are just dedicated and really do want to be here. So I thought this was a good pick for Green.
Yeah, I like it. I've been meaning to pick up his the two works that came out, right?
He did that, and then a Chop Shop. They came out at the same time. And then he has another film that it's a more recent film. It's not like recent, but it's called 99 Homes.
Oh yeah, I love 99 Homes. Yeah.
Okay. So
I love that movie. So
that's his film as well. So if you want to get a little flavor for more modern work of his, check out 99 Homes.
That's a great pick. For me, when I chose Green, I thought a lot about jealousy and like money and greed. That's kind of how I went about it. So I just chose a Billy Wilder classic from 1951 with Kirk Douglas, Ace in the Hole.
Yes.
This is a film just all about sensationalism, and honestly, that's what Green kind of reminds me of. I mean, just reminds me of money in a way, of course, and that envy, that jealousy that we have for people who have it, or infamy, like narcissism, is at the heart of this film, where Kirk Douglas is kind of a lovable asshole, right? In this movie, where he, more or less a man gets trapped, I think in a mine, and he's like right there, could help him, but he decides to like, no, let's play this out, because he's also wants to make the papers. He wants to like rescue this guy and become this huge, like superstar here, and trying to get this sensationalism built up. And so like it really is critiquing America's culture, especially in the 50s, but I mean, it's huge now. It's been a staple of our culture here in the States for a long time, but just sensationalism. There's this constant need for having something to do that's crazy. We have to like constantly pay attention to things like that. And Ace in the Hole is a really great example of that. Billy Wilder, I thought, would be a perfect example of someone who is nice at critiquing the color green. And I think Ace in the Hole is a perfect example of that. And this is a fun film, even though, like I said, he's a son of a bitch. So
yes,
Kirk Douglas. So yeah, but check it out, everyone. This is spy number 396. And it's from 1951. Yeah, 111 minutes.
And I think it's interesting how we both kind of interpreted the money. We both went with the money, greed, jealousy type of thing,
but from a different nature.
But from a different angle, though.
Yeah.
Like my guy desperately wanted to have the things that other people had, and they both went about it a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you have one who's power. Right.
And he's like just trying to like, let's just keep building it and building it and building it. So
yeah, it's interesting. So everybody's going to have different interpretations of all of these colors and emotions. So I think it's a fun challenge.
And I think that's what we'll take this nice little stop here for everyone. Like, I think that's the reason why, when you're choosing your colors, everyone watching this will be the exciting part. It's like, how would you, how would you coordinate all these different colors, and how would you, what are your connotations with them? So I like that. Yeah. Now we're to the colors that are all similar, right?
Yep.
We're at the BIV part, which is blue. So blue kind of represents stability, loyalty, and we have confidence. There's like those kind of associations with it. So what did you choose for blue?
I chose another. I love this movie, love the soundtrack, love everything about it. I think it's one of the lead characters, the lead actors. I think it's one of his best performances. It's a film from 1999. It is in color and it is in English. It is Spine number 1057, a Jim Jarmusch film, Forrest Whitaker and Ghost Dog.
Love that movie.
And
RZA.
I just think that this just really encompasses everything that that we think of when we think of the color blue. And I think that Forrest Whitaker is a very stable, dedicated person who he's definitely got loyalty. He's got all that stuff. And basically what it is he's working for local mobsters, but he's also very committed to doing things in a certain way. And he's held to his convictions by this book, The Way of the Samurai, or the Book of the Samurai. And how do we say that, Nathan? I'm looking at it backwards. Yeah. And he carries this book with him everywhere. And he refers to it every time he has to make a decision. So I think that that is what lends itself to his stability and his loyalty to how he interacts with the people. Even though he may not agree with their decisions, he holds himself accountable.
Yeah, and it can
And he
even be
holds,
to his detriment too.
yeah, good or bad, he will hold himself accountable. But I think this is just a fantastic film. Forrest Whitaker is amazing in it, and like you said, the soundtrack, I just love it. So
Yeah,
Ghost Dog would be my choice for Blue.
I love it, and that was actually I think my first Jim Jarmusch film that I watched ever. So
Okay.
that's one that like has stuck in my mind. I watched it in college as well, so that was a lot of fun for me. I chose a film from 2015. This is actually Spy Number 861. It is an English film, and it's starring Charlotte Rampling and Tom Courtney. And I'm talking about 45 Years right here.
Haven't seen that one.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Stability, loyalty, confidence, right? So this 45 years is about a marriage. It really is about a marriage where like they're pretty comfortable. This older couple, they're about to celebrate their 45th anniversary. I believe that's the kind of the centerpiece of the film. But there's obviously you can't completely be yourself, like 100% self with another person ever. Like
Right.
with whatever couple you are, there's always remnants of your past on both sides of things that you never fully divulge or fully understand about the other person, right? So
Right.
with this film, I kind of dabbles into that a little bit with the husband who you kind of find out early on in the film that he had a lover who I believe was really like maybe fiance or like something very close to that.
Okay.
Pass away and like fell into like a crevice in glaciers in the
Oh,
mountains.
wow.
And they discovered her body. This was many years after this happened. I think 45 years plays a role in that too. It's like before they even got to that part. And so they found the body, and it makes him really weird, and the fact that they found his body or found her body, kind of upsets this whole like celebration that they're about to have their anniversary. And so that's the heart of the film itself. But it really does look at like how stable we can be, how loyal we can be. And it looks at that. It's a very heartwarming film. I mean, it's tough because obviously, like, what I just explained, that's a tough situation to be in. But at the same time, it is a triumphant film. And trust me when I say it's a film that is got its downs and it has its ups. So I highly recommend it to everybody. It's 95 minutes. It's really short, and so I highly recommend it right here. 45 Years by film by Andrew Hai. I hope I said this name correctly.
I just put it on my list.
GH. Yeah. So that's Blue for me. Now I guess we're going to Indigo, which represents devotion, justice, and wisdom. Those are the connotations we have with Indigo. So what did you choose for your color?
Okay, this was a tough between this one and the next one. They could both go either way. So this is devotion, justice, and wisdom. Okay, so this one's a film from 2019. It is an absolutely stunning, beautiful film, and I think it encompasses a lot of those emotions. It's 121 minutes. I thought it was subtitled. Maybe I'm wrong, but it is Spy Number 1034, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Yes. And I think we have a young woman who is hired. She is commissioned to do a portrait of a gal who is being put in an arranged marriage, and her husband-to-be wants to see a portrait of her before he agrees to marry her. She has no interest in being painted and no interest in being married off. So she is going to be very difficult, and they have to kind of do it stealth. They hire the painter and they say, don't let her know that you're going to be painting her and just pretend you're her friend. And this friendship and this subsequent relationship develops between them. And it's one of those forbidden love things. And there's just so much depth to this movie, so much beauty to it, so many emotions that go with it. And it just kind of screamed all that stuff at me that, like justice and, is this really a just decision for the family to be making for them? Because I believe there was an older sister before who took her life because she didn't want to be in an arranged marriage. So there's a lot going on here, but I think this is a stunning, beautiful movie, visually and emotionally. There's so much that goes on here, and I don't want to give too much away because it's very easy to spoil, but it is just you have to see it.
It's one of the best of that year. 2019, right, is when that came out.
Yeah, it was 2019, and even
one of
like
the best of that.
the location where they shot it is absolutely gorgeous, and the set design is beautiful. The lighting is beautiful. The costumes, everything about this
Everything
film
about
is,
it. Everything
about it is
The
stunning.
actresses,
So, everything. Just all we can say is just watch it.
Absolutely watch that.
Yep,
movie.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Incredible film.
One of my favorites in the collection.
Yeah, one of my favorites too.
Yep.
And speaking of favorites, actually, I'm going to talk about my first ever film that I bought in the Criterion Collection. So some people might already know this, but when I think of devotion, justice, and wisdom, I can't think of anything else but Seven Samurai from 1954 from Akira Kurosawa, of course. This is all about devotion. This is all about justice. These are seven wanderless masters, Ronin, pretty much protecting a village from bandits and just sticking up for them and thinking about how much they are devoted to the people. And that's who they're devoted to. And that's what this film's all about. This is in Japanese. This is 207 minutes, but this flies by. If you've ever seen this, you understand like that's a long time for a film. So, it's almost 4 hours. But you don't really feel it because it really does have its highs and lows. And it's one of those films that absolutely screams this, and I love this film. You can see how beat up my copy is because I've had it for so long. But yeah, this is Spy number 2. So this is a fantastic film, and it's the absolute classic. Out of all the things that I would recommend, this is the beginning of your journey. So this is one of your films that you need to watch. But yeah, this is all about devotion, all about justice and wisdom. It's Indigo for me.
And again, we both attack that from different angles. Like you couldn't have two more different films.
Oh, absolutely. No.
And
no
they
way.
they both encompass those feelings, but from a different way. So again, that's what makes this challenge so interesting, because two people will interpret the same thing very differently.
Yeah. And I love that about this.
And come at it from different angles. I love it.
We have like 1,100 plus films to choose from for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, well, actually way more than that, because there's box sets and things like that. So, but yeah, people can choose different things here. So now we're on to our last color.
Yes.
Our last color is violet, which is pretty close to indigo, but violet represents kind of spirituality, imagination. It also has that wisdom part of it, but also luxury, because it's a little bit more on the royalty side of things, I suppose. But yeah, spirituality, imagination, wisdom, and luxury. That's kind of what I associate with violet. So what did you choose for this?
Okay, well, I definitely focused a lot on the spirituality, and because this film is very much rooted in that kind of that struggle for interpreting spirituality and what it means for the person. And this is a film from 2011. It's also in English, and it is Spy number 1083, Pariah. And have you seen this one?
No, that's on the top of my list to get, though.
Okay, and one of the reasons that I tell people, Dee Reese, who also did the movie, the Netflix movie Mudbound, she is the first Black American woman director to get a film in the Criterion Collection. So this is a pretty amazing achievement. And this very much screams spirituality at me, because we have this young woman who's kind of it's kind of a coming of age thing too, because she's coming into her own and she's realizing things about herself that kind of go against how she's been raised. And her family is very, very deeply rooted in their faith. And the two just don't go together. She having a very hard time being true to herself, and also respecting her mother's deep-rooted faith. Like they just butt heads constantly, because her mother is like, you need to be a spiritual person. You need to follow the path that we have set for you. And there is no other choice. And that really makes for a difficult home life for her. And it's about her journey to try and find peace within herself and peace with her family and still remain true to who she is. And that's kind of what I can say without ruining it. But it's a beautiful movie. It's a tough movie. It's a tough watch, and it shows what people go through um, when they're trying to be true to themselves, but also keep the ties with their family when it just may not be what is meant to be for your best path. So I highly, highly recommend Pariah. It's so well done. It is such a great story. Its direction is great. The story is great. The acting is great. It's a very emotional, moving film. So it's a beautiful watch, and it really encompassed the color for me.
I love it, and I cannot wait to see that movie and pick it up. I haven't picked it up yet, but
It's so good, and it's just like you feel her struggle, and it's really a lot of it. So much of it is based in that faith and spirituality that it has been hammered into her whole life. And she has to make a choice. She has to make choices because she has to say, do I stay true to that or true to myself, or how do you have both? And it's tough because a lot of people struggle with that. Very real feeling.
I feel like violet is a very personal color, and
It is.
at least these. I mean, obviously with spirituality, I mean,
Yeah.
You sense that, and so I mean that's so this one might, out of all the colors that we chose, which is nice that it's last, it might be the most personal for somebody.
Yep.
Or you could associate it with that, but
Absolutely.
my route is another 19. Well, I was going to say 1987, but it's 1957. I don't know why the heck it's completely not that. It's 1957. This is a Swedish film, and in fact, it's in this box set right here. But I have the single release talking about Wild Strawberries.
Yes.
Which is probably my favorite Bergman film. It's the one that I'm most comfortable watching. Like I can put it on anytime and I have a really good time with it. But it is about a struggle. It's about spirituality. It's about imagination. I mean, Victor Sjöström, I can never say his name right. Solstrom. Anyway, he is a professor. He's a crotchety old man. He's with his niece, and he's on his way. He's got new professional accolades, and he's on his way across the countryside to go meet his family, who's kind of estranged with because he just kind of put the profession over family life, right? So he's kind of been that way his whole life, and this is really a road trip movie about him and his spirituality. And I mean, even imagination plays a big part of this because he starts imagining stuff and his dreams and seeing crazy things. And there's even homages to Victor's film, The Phantom Carriage, in this movie, which is fantastic. But yeah, this is one of my favorite Bergman films of all time. It's not necessarily like Persona or, Scenes from a Marriage or whatever. I love Bergman, and I could talk about him forever, but not him personally, but his films, because Bergman's a little bit crazy. But Wild Strawberries, I mean, when I think of Violet, when I think of spirituality, when I think of that, I think of somebody going through this struggle, like been living their life this whole way, this way, and then really kind of just shining a light on like, hey, maybe the way that I've been, maybe that this selfishness that I've had going on in my life and not seeing other people for their value can really illuminate who you really are as a person. And I think that really helps with this film. And I love it because, and honestly, it keeps me kind of humble because this is a very personal thing for me. But, I've struggled with tendencies of just caring about stuff that I want to do for a long, long time. So I always have to keep other people who are in my life in my mind, right? To remind me that I'm thankful that they're there. And that's what I think Wild Strawberries does for me. So, but anyway, classic films. Any comments on Wild Strawberries?
I love Wild Strawberries. I find that to be the Bergman film that I most easily connect with. It's very accessible.
Absolutely.
And I think some of his films can be so abstract and they can be interpreted in so many different ways. And I think that Wild Strawberries kind of just puts it out there, and it just makes it so accessible for the viewer. And that's what I really enjoyed about that. And it's a thinker. It's a think piece. It makes you think, like you said, it makes you evaluate your own behaviors and how that will impact your life. So I think for that reason, it's really a great film. And I think it's a fantastic pick. And it really encompasses everything about the color.
And I really love how we both kind of chose films that I feel like, for the people watching, if you're new to the Criterion Collection, I feel like a lot of these are like really good first choices to like
Oh
start
yeah.
watching, like to kind
Yep.
of get yourself comfortable or know the type of films that are in the collection.
Yeah.
But also, just the fun thing is, you can do something about this yourself, who are watching this, and decide to, if you want to join in on this challenge, you can make a video response, or I mean, even
Yep.
comment down below what choices you would choose for the Criterion Color Connotation Challenge. I had to figure out
Yep.
how to word it. But yeah, please let us know what your choices are. Any final thoughts, Steph?
No, this was just, it was a lot of fun. And I love that it made me think instead of just pulling titles off the shelf. I actually had to stop and think. And I think that sometimes we're just so like, reactive. Like we just grab something and say, okay, I want to talk about this, or I want to watch this. But this kind of made us say, well, like why and how, and what does it mean to you? And how do you interpret it? And it was nice to actually sit and take pause and think about what I was choosing and why I was choosing it. And I agree with what you said. I think all these films that I picked, all the films that you picked, I think they're films that are, anyone can start with these, and you'll get a wide variety of what the Criterion Collection has to offer. And you can it's a good jumping off point. And I think that I think all the films are just really, you can't go wrong with any of them.
Nope. I
But
totally agree.
I really enjoyed this, and I thank you for putting it out there and for nudging me along to say, "Come on, let's do this," because
Mhm.
you got me going with it, and I appreciate that.
Well, I was excited to do this, and I'm very thankful that you were able to jump on board. But yeah, where can
Yeah.
people find you, Steph?
Well, eventually they'll be able to find me back on my channel at over at Movie Chatter on YouTube, and I've been a little under the radar lately, but I'm bouncing back up.
I'm glad. I'm glad, and well, we're here. We're doing this
Yep.
now, and that matters. So
Yep.
everyone can, like go follow Steph over at Movie Chatter on YouTube. Fantastic stuff that she puts out there. Always love making comments on each other's videos. That's like one of the highlights of any time any of us put out a video. I
Yeah.
love waiting. I was like, when's Steph going to say something?
A
So
lot of shopping going on.
yeah, we like to put each other's shopping carts in our
To the
front of our
test.
faces, like, look what you did.
Look what you've
So
done.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you everyone to watch it who has watched this and follow along this long. We would love to hear from you in the comment section. Like I said, if you want to make your own video, post your own list down in the comment section. What do you think of this challenge? What are the colors that you associate with the collection itself? We want to know down in the comment section down below. So thank you so much for watching. Give it a comment, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.